So I've gotten some questions recently from people asking me to help them with their shooting form or to help them develop a perfect shot. So I wanted to make this video to address that and to help you guys out. Now, the first thing that I want you guys to understand is that there is no one size fits all when it comes to shooting. So understand that your shooting form won't look exactly like anybody else's because everybody's a little bit different. I'm going to give you guys some tips and a few keys that you need to have in your shot that's going to allow you to become a great shooter. And I'm also going to give you guys a workout that you can do that if you do it consistently and with perfect form, you're going to get a much better jump shot. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to break down Kevin Durant's shooting form and Klay Thompson's shooting form. And we're going to look at a couple things that they do that make them such great shooters. The other reason that we're breaking these two down is just to show you that not everybody shoots the same. Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson are two of the best shooters of all time, and their shots look very different from one another. So what I want you guys to do is be open-minded, test out what works for you, and then once you have that figured out, drill it in a million times. That's how you become a great shooter. Get your perfect shooting form and then repeat it over and over again, and you'll become a great shooter. Alright, let's get into it. Let's take a look at Kevin Durant's shooting form real quick. So the main thing that I want to show you guys here is the fact that Kevin Durant likes to shoot the ball from the middle of his body as opposed to the outside, like almost every shooting coach in the world will tell you to do. And I know a lot of guys personally that I work with who prefer to shoot from the middle of their body, and a lot of them are great shooters. So again, this is a feel thing. If this works better for you, then go for it. If you like to shoot on the outside, then do that. But here we go right here. So this is Kevin Durant's Game 3 shot. He's gonna come. Now look, he picks that ball up right there. And another thing you'll notice about Kevin Durant if you watch him play is that he likes to go left because he picks that ball up closer to the left side of his body than his right. So it's a lot easier for him to pull up if he goes left as opposed to going right. So Kevin Durant has this ball in the middle of his body right now, goes up, boom. Now this shot is like right over his head, so right in the middle of his body. Elbows out a little bit. You know, not a lot of coaches will tell you to shoot like this, but Kevin Durant's one of the best ever to shoot a basketball. So I think we can take some things from this and understand that there's not a one size fits all when it comes to shooting. Release, boom, bucket. That's what he does. Let's take a look at his free throws here real quick too. Same thing. This ball is even closer to the left side than the middle here. Again, no coach will tell you to do this, but if this works for you, then there's no reason not to. So you gotta experiment and figure out what works best. This ball goes up, great backspin, bucket. And that's how it's done right there, guys. So LeBron actually is another guy who likes to shoot from the middle of his body. And LeBron, one of the greatest players of all time. So another thing you're gonna notice about Kevin Durant is that he is really turned when he shoots his shot. Meaning that his feet are not pointed directly at the basket, neither are his hips, and this actually helps his alignment and allows him to be less tense when he shoots the ball. So we'll see here. Here he goes, going to his left, boom. Feet are turned, look at his feet. His feet are really pointing towards the sideline here as opposed to the basket. Again, a lot of coaches will tell you, you gotta have your feet pointing to the basket. That's not true. And really the best shooters all have a turn when they shoot. Nobody actually shoots with their feet pointing towards the basket. And again, that helps your elbow and your shoulder to be more in line with the basket, and it relieves tension in your shoulders when you shoot too. Alright, let's take a look at Klay Thompson's shooting form real quick. So Klay's a much more traditional shooter, but I still wanted to dispel a couple myths too when it comes to his shot. Klay's a lot more turned towards the basket as opposed to Kevin Durant is when he shoots the ball, but he still has a slight turn in his feet if you watch him shoot. And you'll see here. Gets this ball. Boom. Look at those feet. Not pointing towards the basket. Has a slight turn. Now he's squared to the basket much more than a lot of guys are, but he still has a slight turn, which again helps to relieve tension in that shot. Makes it feel a lot smoother. So as you'll be able to see here, he keeps that ball a lot more on the outside as compared to Kevin Durant. He likes to shoot it from that outside shooting pocket, which is how I prefer to shoot it, and how a lot of guys do, but there really is no right way to do it. If this feels better for you, then go for it. If the other way does, then do that. Alright guys, so I want to take a quick look at my own shooting form, just to break down for you guys the way I shoot, and take a look at some of the key parts of my shot as well. Now I want to break down my shot into segments, so we're going to start off with my feet. So as you'll see when I get this ball, I like to have a slight turn in my feet, and that's what I also recommend to everybody that I coach. A myth is that you've got to have your feet pointed directly at the basket, and that's just not true. If you look at some of the best shooters on the planet, a lot of them have very, very significant turns. Some of them, if you look at a guy like Steph Curry or Kevin Durant, you'll see that these guys have a slight turn, and you'll see this too. I also always have my right foot ahead of my left, and if you're a right-handed shooter, that's what you want to do. You always want to have your right foot a little bit ahead of your left foot, and if you're a left-handed shooter, just switch it. Have your left foot a little bit ahead. Alright, so let's take a look at this. So feet, down, boom. Now notice when I land, I like to swing a little bit, and this just helps relieve any sort of tension in my shot, and it just makes it feel a lot smoother for me. A lot of guys do this too. Depends kind of how it feels for you, how much of a swing you want to have, but don't feel like you have to be super rigid and keep your feet pointed directly at the basket, because that's just not true. Now you'll notice that my hips pretty much mirror my feet. So my feet are turned a little bit, my hips are also going to be turned a little bit. When my feet swing at the end, my hips are also going to at the same time. Boom, right there. Alright, so hips kind of follow what the feet do, so you want to make sure that you have your feet set correctly so that the rest of your body follows along. Let's look at my shot pocket. So right there, I prefer to shoot from the outside of my body. Now as I said, you can either shoot from the middle or you can shoot from the outside. A lot of guys like to shoot from the middle, and there's a lot of guys who are great shooters who do that. There's also a lot of guys who like to shoot from the outside, and there are a lot of guys who are great at that. Me, I used to shoot from the middle, and then when I was in high school I changed it so that I would shoot from the outside, and immediately my rotation on the ball got better. I stopped missing to the side as much as I used to, and so for me, I'm just naturally an outside shooting pocket shooter. You want to experiment with this and find what works best for you, and a good gauge of that is to check and see what the spin of the ball looks like. So when I shoot, I always have great backspin on the ball, which lets me know that I'm releasing the ball properly. Now if you shoot from the middle and it feels more comfortable and you have great backspin on the ball and you don't have any side rotation, then you can keep doing that, that's fine. But for me personally, my best shot is when I shoot from the outside. Right up, boom. Boom. Let's take a look at a different angle now. We're a little bit farther away, so now you can kind of see my whole shot as well. And let's take a look at the follow through. So when I shoot this ball, I'm holding that shot, I'm holding that follow through until that ball goes in or hits the rim or whatever happens. This ball did go in, by the way. You can't see it, but it did go in. But I held that follow through until that ball went through the net, because you want to make sure that you lock your arm, you fully extend it, snap that wrist, and you don't want to short arm it. A lot of guys, what they do is they don't fully extend their elbow or their wrist, and that can make you wildly inconsistent with your shot. It can make your shot flat, it can give a weird rotation. You want to lock out your elbow and your wrist every time that you shoot. Alright, you got to be consistent with that. So when I do that, I always make sure that I get my elbow and my wrist locked out. The other thing is you want to focus on elbow above the eye. So what I mean by that is, to make sure you get enough height on your shot and you get good arc on it, you want to have your elbow higher than your eye level. So sitting there where you are right now, just lift up your elbow and get it so that it's higher than your eye level. That's how high you want your shot to be right there. So that's a good gauge, and if you're shooting flat, a lot of times that's why, is because you don't have your elbow up high enough, so the ball's not getting enough arc. Boom. Shot through right there, swish. You guys need to understand that my shot isn't perfect, and nobody has a perfect shot, but I do what works for me. My mechanics are good, and I make sure that I drill it in a million times. Make sure you repeat it over and over and over again, and that's how you become a great shooter. Alright, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope this helped you guys out. Let me know if you guys have any questions. If you guys want me to take a look at your shooting form, send me a DM on Instagram. And my Instagram is @VisionDrivenBasketball. You can find me in there. I'll help you guys out. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like. And make sure you guys subscribe too if you haven't, if you're new to the channel. I'm posting a ton of new content, guys. So subscribe, turn on notifications. That really helps me out. I appreciate it. Again, let me know what you guys want to see next. If you have any requests. That's it for me. Subscribe. Peace.